Hello and welcome back to our South Bromsgrove High School DofE YouTube channel. What we're going to look at in this short clip is just some ideas for lunches that you might use on your bronze, silver or gold DofE Expedition. Remember, as always with your menu choices, we need to make sure that our food is really high in calories. We need to make sure it's easy to carry, so that means that it's got to be robust in itself and also probably packed in quite robust packaging, and it also needs to be lightweight as well. So especially for the longer expeditions at silver and gold, you don't want to be carrying food that's very, very heavy. And you need to obviously make sure it's food that doesn't require any refrigeration. So if you're looking at foods that are bought from the chilled cabinets in the supermarket, that's probably not going to be okay. It just wouldn't be safe. You're likely to end up maybe with food poisoning on your expedition. You need to make sure that it's reasonably balanced in terms of the macros, so you don't want to rely exclusively on sugars and simple carbohydrates. We need to make sure we've got some complex starchy carbohydrates in all of our meals to give us a sustained amount of energy rather than just a quick sugar peak, okay? We need to also make sure that we've got fats in there and proteins to keep us fuller for longer and make our meals more satisfying, and you also don't want to neglect the fiber for too many days, okay? Otherwise that might start messing up your digestive system. You also need to make sure, of course, that your food is tasty, otherwise you're not going to enjoy eating it, okay? Now, first of all, when we're thinking about lunches, which is the theme of this clip, we need to think about staying hydrated. Now, quite often on DofE, people will bring the same kind of water bottle that they take to school, and that's just not going to be big enough. This water bottle here has a capacity of around 800 litres, so 800 millilitres, so that's not going to be enough if you brought two of these. We need bigger water bottles, or maybe a third water bottle. Quite often on DofE, people get a bit bored of just drinking water, so there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't bring along some flavoured, squeezy, concentrated squash like this. This goes down quite well with our DofE students. But what we definitely don't want to see is we don't want to see people bringing canned drinks, okay? Canned drinks are no good because once you've drunk them, they're then empty and you can't refill the can, okay? Bringing bottles allows you to refill during the day. And certainly, we don't want any energy drinks, okay? This may well contain 55 grams of sugar, okay? Which is a fairly substantial 237 kilocalories, okay? So that's gonna make quite a big impact on your energy levels, which is great, but the amount of caffeine in here is just not going to be healthy for us on expeditions. Caffeine has a diuretic effect, it's going to dehydrate us, okay? So we drink water, maybe with a bit of squash, but we're definitely not bringing energy drinks on DofE. Right, what are we going to eat then? Right, you can survive, especially on shorter expeditions, you can survive on some fairly simple stuff for lunch. So it's no problem if you wanted just to rely on things like crisps, maybe some chocolate bars, okay, and maybe some fruit. Apples are pretty robust, okay, so bringing apples on DofE is a good idea, bringing bananas not so good, okay, and you can also rely on pre-packaged cereal bars like brunch bars, okay, so kind of whatever you think is going to be tasty and is going to give you enough calories, that's absolutely fine. However, I would recommend a more substantial meal during the middle of the day, and for that we tend to recommend tortilla wraps, because these are pretty robust to carry. They don't get crushed in your rucksack, okay? And you can spread a variety of different things onto them during your lunch break, okay? So I'm going to demonstrate one of our highest calorie options when it comes to a lunch tortilla, and this is one of my favorites, I have to say. It's obviously no good if you've got people in your group that have a nut allergy, okay? But as long as people are okay with peanuts, then spreading on some nut butter onto your wrap, okay? You want to try and get it fairly thinly spread, okay? Although you certainly don't need to cover the whole wrap with it. If you have it really thick, it just becomes very, very difficult to eat, okay? But you're going to need to wash this down with a fair amount of water, okay? What you can then pop on top, if you're feeling a little bit American style, is you can put a little bit of jam on here, okay? So this is like peanut butter and jam. Big fan. Lots of big fans of this, okay? I use this on some of my expeditions, okay? Another thing that goes really, really well onto your peanut butter wrap is chocolate spread. right? So again, you could put this on the peanut butter, or you could just do chocolate spread on its own, okay? So once we've got our wrap like this, we're just going to roll it up, okay? That's why you want your jam to be quite thin, otherwise it will squidges out, okay? And then there's a peanut butter and jam wrap, or as I just described, maybe a chocolate spread and golden syrup wrap. That's another pretty special lunchtime combination, okay? Now, other options for during the day include making yourself like a grazing bag, kind of like a sort of a bag that you can dip into at various points in the day and just grab a handful of bits and pieces, okay? So you can make up your grazing bag using whatever stuff you like, okay? This is where you can kind of get your sweets in there. So I've got some jelly babies, okay? I've also got some Galaxy Minstrels in here, so they're really fantastic. These are a great way of having chocolate even on a really hot expedition, because of course even if the chocolate starts to melt, they're kind of encased in the sugary shell, okay? But we also probably want to make sure it's a little bit more satisfying. So again, mindful of nut allergies, carrying some nuts in your grazing bag, as long as it's safe for you to do so in terms of anybody's allergies, is a great idea. And then we can also mix in some fruit as well. So we've got some chewy banana here and some mango, okay? And then, hey, why not have a little bit of strawberry flavoured mango, and just for good measure, a little bit of coconut and pineapple in there too, okay? So you can literally just put into your grazing bag whatever you want. It could just be jelly babies, it could be Smarties, it could be whatever sweets you want. I'm a really big fan of milk chocolate raisins, and one of the things I like best about milk chocolate raisins is if you're in an expedition area where there's rabbits or sheep, you can try and play the game with your friends of chocolate raisin Russian roulette. So you get a few chocolate raisins on your hand like this, you get a few little bits of rabbit poo, and you kind of mix them in, and then blindfolded, you see if your friends are up for it, okay? Clearly I'm joking, I wouldn't recommend that on DofE in all seriousness. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the clip. Our next one's going to be on some dinner choices.